Okay, so little project. This is the fan idler pulley dingus from the 5.9 Cummins in my diesel Dodge. The old bearing, which is here, I managed to get so that it doesn't want to work, is getting just a little crusty. When it was still attached, it doesn't feel as bad when I take it out, but it was definitely making noise before I pulled it out. So I figured now would be a good time to go ahead and fit the new bearing into the system. So what I have to do is, if you look close inside here, you can see where the old one was pressed in. It left a mark around it. I'm going to take a flappy wheel to that real fast and get it just a little bit cleaner. I'm going to press this guy in to it. And the bearing basically looks the same. It's a completely sealed bearing, both sides. Then I will go ahead and put the rest of these components back in the way they're supposed to be, so I can put it all back on the motor. Anyway, be back shortly when that is done. Okay. So I used the press, put the bearing in on this side, laid it up here on the press. It's lightly oiled, so with it set there, I could then take and put the puck for driving a seal or bearing in, but this one's larger so that it would push down on the cast iron. Set it up, used it, pushed it in, wipe off a bit of the grease. So that's now, if I look at the back edge of it with great care, down in there, you'll see that the rust ring is right up against the edge of the bearing. The bearing is flat tight with this. That's exactly where I want to be. Now I have to get this apart and put it in. Be back in a second after that's done. So what I'm set up to do here, I know there's a rag on it, but you can see the pieces in. I have the stack underneath to give me something to push on. So I'm basically pushing that spindle against the bearing. The bearing cannot move. And we'll press her on in there. The rag is just to keep from knocking up the threads. Okay, so now it's all in there. It's tight down to where it's supposed to be. It's setting right. And the last piece is the back plate, which has to go in. We'll get that in there, and we'll torque it down to its spec, which isn't going to be too terribly much, about 20 or 25 foot-pounds, I'd guess, based on the size of the bolt. Maybe a little more, 30 most. And that should hold it in there just fine, and it should work. And I'll go mount it on the motor here shortly. Okay, so now it's all up. I was incorrect on torque. I went and checked the torque specs, and it is 57 foot-pounds that it needed. It spins nice and smooth. A little bit of resistance from the preload on the bearing, which I would expect. It all feels very good. So ready to go into the truck. Okay, so to show you the final bits, hang on, I'll turn it so you can see it. It has been fitted with a fluid balancer because the old fluid damper was, or excuse me, the old vibration damper was bad. It had the belt replaced with a Continental, and it's kind of a screwy belt. Take a look at the threading on it. It's supposed to be quieter and strong from where I got it, which was pure driven diesel. So we'll see how that works out. But she's all mounted up and ready. We'll see how she does.